That wasn't me. I keyed up, the only thing I keyed up and did was
Oh, okay. Somebody else was keying up then and was doing that. No, not. It was breaking up.
and they had a big old signal.
Well, who was it? It's gonna be a mystery forever.
Ah, who cares?
I don't care.
It was a ghost.
That's right, Shane.
Hey, Dave, that's the point, man. I'm cleaning out everyone's receive for them. Everybody's tired of static crashes. Well, here you go. Ready? You're welcome.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, I literally just watched your carrier go up and up and up.
I didn't change anything. That's just conditions. It's sitting rock solid where I put it. Now, I invite anyone else who can do that, please come out on the air and do that. We need you.
We do. How am I holding up by your way, Billy?
Dude, you're strapping. Check my pan adapter.
Alright, let me I hope I get like worried now about trying to do too many things at once on the internet so I don't get kicked off. But I do like pay $200 a month for all my stuff so I can have high upload speeds.
Yeah, well, that won't affect your upload speed. You're just going to be downloading my stream, but, you know, it should be okay. If you're watching other streams, maybe close them if you're worried about it. Dude, see, that's the thing. Like, 2 computers, man. Kind of got to do it. It takes the worry out of everything.
Yeah, I do have another computer at the other operating position. It's got some crappy processor. It's nothing spectacular. It's just, you know, one of those home, you know, one of those like real personal PCs that came out probably 10 years ago. But I will use it for the other station.
What is this stuff? You know, it's fun.
You know, looking people up on QRZ or, you know, scrolling the internet. And I pull my mod monitor up on that computer too when I'm on the DX100. So, but yeah, I don't do much of any hardcore anything with it.
I figure they're good for like somebody gets on and they're pissed weak. You could put like, oh, at least I tried, or you did it before. Cool story, bro. When somebody starts yakking, I don't know. They're cool.
Wait, what?
I don't have. Do you have your microphone and your webcam on? Because I don't have your the video on or the audio on your stream.
I got it on a push to talk, Perry.
Yes, I do. Not all the time, though. It's too noisy in here. I don't want the noise floor, so I run a push to talk. And yeah, dude, you don't need a good computer. Just do everything on your computer, like your entire thing that you're doing, and then pipe it over to the other computer and have the other computer stream it.
Okay. I got you. Now, how would that improve things? It wouldn't improve the load on this computer, but I guess it would improve, my internet usage affecting it.
It would, you're encoding, you know, this stream right now on your computer, and that's not that light, you know? It would take that whole load off of there. So that you would just be, you know, you wouldn't be doing any internet stuff with your machine. It would just be doing, you know, all your visual stuff as like a mixer for all your inputs, and you pipe that out to another computer that connects to the internet and does all the encoding and handles like the stream and being connected. And like you're not doing anything on that computer except OBS. Like that's it. And it's got, you know, it's that's how it works.
I gotcha. That's a really good idea, actually. I would have to I'd get another Ethernet cable and hook it up directly to that. So I wouldn't want to do that over Wi-Fi. I would rather have a hard, because this is hooked up directly to the Ethernet cable to my router. And I still have one more input to the router. So or output. So I used to run my Anon into the router, but then I set up a static IP for that.
Hey, I'll see you later, Bob.
Use the router anymore because it would like automatically set up the IP address and everything. Just plug it right into the router, and now I just plug it directly into the computer. So I should have some room. I may do that. Maybe I'll do that Sunday next day I have off, because Lord knows now that we had a guy quit, I'm gonna be beat by the time I get home. Probably get on here for a half hour and then fall asleep.
Yeah, don't use Wi-Fi for anything. I found all this crap out at 3 in the morning last night. I was making Ethernet patch cables and this and that. I don't know. I did mad experimenting with Twitch streams last night, and that's what I came up with. You gotta run 2 computers.
Overlay you have, the chat overlay. Super nice. I wish I could have that for that same thing for the platforms I'm streaming on. That would be pretty cool. And they told me what software are you running on the Anon?
Hey Dave.
The Power SDR Thetis 2.7.0 A3. The latest update. Still in beta, so don't think it's gonna be perfect by any means. This guy's something. I can't read it. The damn font's too small. Hold up, let me make this bigger. What's that? Cats are nervous at 3875. Is what he said. I don't know what that means.
I don't even have a cat.
My cat's chilling right in front of the amplifier where she always does.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty good when it's cold.
Yeah, no, she likes the clunk. She's here for clunk.
So if you hollowed that thing out, took everything else out, and just left the compactor in, the cat would be good.
Probably, yeah. I think the warmth might have something to do with it, but it's not warm where she sits. She's down by the inlet, near the floor, literally right in front of the thing, and there's a draw of air through there, so it's one of the colder places in the room.
Yeah, one day it'll be inside that thing, cleaning it out. There'll be a giant black tumbleweed inside from all the fur.
I really think that the cat fur is helping here. I might throw a little more in.
Well, it's time for an experiment.
Good evening, Dave. W3MMR.
Hey, Perry, you're still coming through.
Yeah, you're coming through great.
Roger, the miracle of thermionic emission, W2VW.
That's right. Amen.
Tubes.
Yeah, I only got one tube in my final. I want to get my rig with 2 tubes in the final back. But got other stuff to do first.
Running one tube works quite well though. You're strapping. I'm only running 1 tube. I think Perry's only running 1 tube.
Yeah, I'm only running 1 tube.
What do you have, an AL80?
I do.
I just posted in the guys beating each other's brains out on QRZ AL80. Do you run it on 125 or 250 thread?
Oh my god.
These guys have been going back and forth. You can do this, you can do this, blah, 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 blah. So one guy posts the manual, and then some other guy highlights a bunch of stuff in the manual, and I know that guy. Anyway.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Oh no, this little amplifier has been great to me. I mean, I left the thing keyed up at 1100, just over 1,000 watts of carrier for like 20 minutes when I forgot about it when I was on the phone. And it came back, and literally the thing was too hot to touch. Like, you couldn't touch it, you would burn yourself. And the only thing I did was melted some solder out of one of the filament pins. And I didn't know it for 6 months until it started to arc. And then I just tried and things been working great ever since. I run this thing at 200 watts of carrier for 5 minutes at a time, and haven't had any problems yet. But I'm not saying I'm not expecting any the way I run this thing.
Yeah, you can take that same tube and run 700 watts of carrier. Actually, a little more than that. Plate modulated.
Right, they're beefy little tubes, man. Things got 3200 volts on the plate in this thing. When I key up, it only drops to 100 volts, so it does okay. And I still have headroom. Still doing 120% positive, and so does me all right until I move, and then I can get something bigger.
Do you have that amp where you can see the tube while you're operating?
Yeah, and I have temperature gauge on the exhaust.
Yeah, that's a really, really good idea. What are you using for a temperature gauge?
I have a little digital one. I think I got it on Amazon. It's I put the sensor for it literally right up against the cabinet where the exhaust blows out, and it's literally, I mean, the tube is within half an inch of that. So I mean, it's pretty much as close to the tube as I could get it.
Yeah, how do you feel about your thermal hysteresis?
I don't know how I feel about it. All I know is that the thing will get, after 5 minutes of talking, when it's fully cooled down, it'll exhaust tank gets up to about 215, 218. So the thing won't read over 220, so I know when it stops reading that I need to unkey.
Roger. W2 very weak. That's what I need to do with this transmitter is stick a temperature gauge on it, but it's been running in this configuration for a long time now, and it's okay. So I know I have a hard vacuum in the tube because this sucker is on top of a 6-foot rack. I can look at the glow from the 4400 reflecting off of the ceiling.
Muffin fan on the intake of this thing as well, but it's not on all the time. Only when I, make an old buzzer or something and that exhaust temp gets up there, I'll flip it on. But besides that, it's not on all the time. 2.5 feet from me. I mean, it's 2.5 feet directly behind the microphone, so it would be awful loud.
I worked on a couple of those amps in the last year. And I think I worked on 4 AL811 11s and an H. Combination of the two. Anyway, I wasn't real happy with the 811 amps because they over dissipate those poor little 811s. They don't have a chance. And the AL80 both these, and I told both of the guys, get yourself, reorganize your operating position so you can see the tube, because if you do something dumb, it will wake you up.
Yep, you're right. Ever since I left the thing keyed up, I'm super cognizant of how hot the exhaust temperature is. Like I'm always checking it. It's behind me, like literally right behind my right arm, and I can reach it with my hand. So then that's where the temperature, the digital readout is right on the front of it. You have it like stuck with a piece of double-sided tape to the top of it. So so I can see it. I wish it was right in front of me, but the probe isn't that long.
Yeah, man, yeah, buddy. I'm getting tired of zero beating this thing.
The probe isn't that long. That's what she said.
I was waiting for that.
This probe, the one I have on my amplifier, came with the amp. It only goes up to 150 degrees, so I've got to, like, you know, kind of have it in my head where I might be at. Sometimes I talk on it there. Most times I don't until it comes down to where I see numbers.
I have a little bit different here. I gotta go to company before she's kind of related, I guess. Good night all, W2HJB.
Hey, we'll see you later, George. Mother Nature is pissed off tonight. My pop screen didn't work there.
I guess you signed. I didn't hear you, but anyway, take care.
Yeah, the QSC doesn't like that.
Dude, neither does my stuff. You know how I knew it didn't work? Because I heard my my Heising reactor go.
I heard you in there, everything.
And then there's the Boston Buzzy.
My two Heising reactors that are in series, and George Heising never once complained that anybody called him that. I guess because he's dead, but I'm just being factual here. They never make any noise whatsoever. The only thing that makes any noise in this whole rack is that old Ferguson plate transformer. At least I think that's what's making the noise. Probably needs to be tightened down or something, because it's a dry transformer.
Oh. So you've got Heising reactors. I guess you could say I do too. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, I think. Is that good? Can you have 5 Heising reactors in your plate modulated transmitter? What?
I did that once. I didn't have any real modulation reactors, and all I had was these Wilcox reactors, of which you're very familiar with. I had, one time I had 8 of those. I put them all in series and used them for a Heising reactor.
I'm interested in this whole half a mod transformer Heising reactor deal. I kind of want to try it, but I don't have any mod transformers.
Yeah, somewhere there's an old article in QST about how to measure inductance in an iron core reactor under load. So there's like a test circuit, and you take a bench power supply, and you put a given amount of current through the reactor, and then you still measure you ring it out. You know, that's another thing. You've got to do it at the frequencies of interest. And you ring it out, and you check the inductance, see how many henries you have there while the current flows through it. And that would be the test, because everybody says, you can't wind a modulation reactor on a toroid or a power supply reactor. You can't, it won't work. Well, yes, it will work, but it's not going to have the same characteristics as one with a gas. And that doesn't mean you can't make one. It doesn't mean you can't make a reasonably sized one. You know, a lot of people throw the ball out of the backwater when it comes to that. I've been looking at some formula and a few other things, and I have a sneaking suspicion that that thing I have that's already wound would work just fine. So when I get good and bored and I'm not doing anything else.
Hey, Dave.
Hello.
K2ORS.
Oh, hey Warren, I heard you on the other day. How you doing?
Alrighty. Hey, I'm not running much power, maybe 130 watts. So, yeah, I'm up in Maine. It's a noisy night. Just wanted to say hello. W2VW group K2ORS in Lovell, Western Maine.
Did you get that, Billy?
Yeah, he's just saying hello from lower western Maine.
Yeah, okay. I thought that was the gist of it, but man, the band conditions are just bad. My static crashes down here, Warren, are really require somebody who's loud. Anyway, good to hear you on. Yeah, I heard you asking about Virtual Herb and the Mop Man. I think I may have told you I had some correspondence with the Mop Man back around Christmas time. So he's still out there, and if you want a way to get a hold of him, if you're that interested, send me an email and I'll send you his contact info, or I'll ask him if it's okay first. Yeah, I would love to hear Virtual Herb on. I had a sneaking suspicion that he was parroting certain things, and I guess it was true. It's a real shame. He was a great guy. He still is a great guy as far as I know. But anyway, good to hear you. Thanks for stopping by. W2 very weak.
Alrighty, Dave. Yeah, I'm not running too much power, so I understand. And, you know, I'm not in Lower Western Maine. I'm in the town of Lovell, Western Maine, near North Conway, New Hampshire. I'm near North Conway in the White Mountains of Maine. Anyway, don't be on a friend. No, I don't know Fred that well. I'm just curious, a curiosity thing. And we'll get a better conditions when I get a little more power out as well. Hey, send me that
Roger, Roger. Take care. 7-3, Warren. Happy COVID quarantine to you, and we'll see you next time.
November 2, love your job. Name here is Wally, Whiskey, Alpha, Lima, Lima, Yankee. Up here in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess you probably shoveled your trench out for the year, so that there's, you know, the 10 feet of snow you guys get up there, you can actually get out to the barn now. Is that right?
Believe it or not, one of my old told you I only snowblower once this year. The snowblower only came out of the garage once. We didn't get much accumulation at all compared to other years. And we've been having wet spring, and it'll take us into a beautiful summer up here in upstate. If we can ever go outside the field.
Yeah, okay. Well, got some family not too far away. I'm pretty familiar with up there. The last time I was anywhere near there, right there anyway, was back in 1991. We went out to Grand Island. Anyway, Wally, you're okay down here into Beechwood, New Jersey, which is about halfway down the state on the Atlantic coast. My name is Dave, Delta Alpha Victor Echo. My call's W2 very weak. We're just kind of tossing it back and forth here. So, Billy, how you hearing Wally up there?
I'm hearing Wally pretty well. I went up and made some adjustments to my receiver that helped a lot. So, not bad at all. How you doing, Wally? This is W2BTK on Montana Mountain in New Jersey.
Good evening. What if I told you guys you were the first to have contact with my CS590? Legally, I'm the ambient.
Wally, W3MMR.
Wally, did you say that was something about your first AM contact? What? I kind of missed that.
Well, yeah, this is my first legal AM contact since I became a kid.
Legal.
I've only been a ham since 1991. I just never really got on the AM band. And this whole COVID thing has me trying all kinds of new stuff. Go ahead.
Oh man, well, oh, cool, dude. Welcome to, well, not welcome, but that's very cool. It sounds like you've made some AM contacts, but legitimately, that's nice. So yeah, W2BTK. And Dave out there, and Perry's trying to get to you. He's out there in Chester, PA. So why don't you make a contact with him?
Hey, what's up, excuse me. Good evening, Wally, sorry. Henry, P-E-R-R-Y, Papa Echo Romeo Yankee. And we're right outside of Philadelphia, 7 miles southwest of Philadelphia here in Chester, PA. In Delaware County. It sounded good down here, about 25 over. As you can hear, the band is awful loud, but you sound great. Kenwood sounds just fine. And great to work you here on AM and be part of your first AM contacts down this way. And if you want, I'm streaming on YouTube. I'm live streaming on there now, and you can like rewind the live stream and check out, see how you're sounding down this way into my Anon. And Billy's streaming on Twitch as well. And yep, or somewhere in between. So don't be a stranger. Can you say your call one more time so I can I'll put it in the log here, Raleigh? W3MMR.
Why, thank you, Gary, and I want to thank you guys for your hospitality this evening. This is very exciting for me. And the call here is November 2, Lima, Yankee, Juliet. As I like to say, November 2, love your job. Love your job. You're up here at 20 over 9 as well.
Victor Johnson.
Put your finger on the
God.
Greater Buffalo International Airport. I'm probably about less than a mile away from that. And I have been down in your neck of the woods. Back in 1989, I had a field rep job that I traveled up and down the Mid-Atlantic. I remember driving through New Jersey numerous times. I had the support from pretty much New York City to Virginia Beach, so everything else was cars down the road. The good old days of no cell phone and a Rand McNally book map. And you're lucky if you didn't spill coffee on it and end up with Fire Island in Long Island, which happened once or twice. I would like to know the URL that you're live streaming at. I will check that out. And my email address is link or anything is my first name, Wally, Whiskey Alpha, Lima, Yankee, at N2LYJ.net. That's November 2, Lima, Yankee, Juliet.com. I'm going to go and give my call here. And again, thank you three guys for making the contact with you. And I'll sit back here and start listening again. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm writing you an email right now, Wally, and I'll send you the link. But yeah, it's on YouTube. So let me share this. Copy. Okay, and I'll send this email right over to you, Wally. It's on the way right now. Yeah, great working, Wally, and we'll say 7-3. Like I said, feel free to stop at any time. And we're going to sit back on the quiet side here for a bit and start shutting everything down. I got to go to work tomorrow pretty early, so we'll talk at you later. N2LYJ 73 W3MMR.
Check Thank you very much, Perry, and I did get the link, and I'm pulling it up as we speak. 73 guys, N1BCG. Everybody, do our best.
Yep, see you.
Well, okay, Wally. You probably know this is like a very noisy night. So you're doing fine there. So glad to run into you and your first legal AM contact. Yeah. Well, anyway. Nice to run into you, and I look forward to talking to you again. There's a lot of good guys around here. And some guys do the round table thing. Some people do fast break-in, and it's all kinds of different things. So, thanks for stopping by. W2VW.
See you, Wally. Oh yeah, I gotta make my healthy choice steamer.
Healthy, Billy, you need to eat like a 6-pack of donuts.
Oh, God. Yeah, man. People are going to start. You're online, man. People are going to start sending you food.
I eat a lot of Pop-Tarts, you know, when I'm watching TV at night. That helps.
Say, oh my God, look at, DHS is gonna show up at your house. Like the cops do welfare checks.
If I float away, just shoot me down.
Yeah. You know, you're not buoyant, Billy. If you go swimming, man, you got no fat whatsoever. You're just gonna sink.
You know that I'm a really good swimmer, man. I did like Junior Olympics and stuff when I was younger. I got in the breaststroke. There were only 7 people in the whole country who could beat me.
Yeah, that's great, man. It's those big hands, probably. You know, you're scooping all that water. Good for you. See, now you got skills, man. You got mad skills. But I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, you were really like a junior Olympic swimmer?
Hell yeah, brother. Eastfield Regionals was where you would go first, and that was basically like the East Coast stuff. I won that, went to JOs, got 7th in the breaststroke. What was it, 100 meter in my age range.
Dude, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. I used to be really good at hockey. I played AAA ice hockey when I was a kid. Then I blew my knee out, got interested in partying and girls, and I never went and played again.
And you landed up hanging out with us.
Right? Working on cars and on the ham radio with a bunch of great people.
You know, I make a kind of one of the sports, you know, not as young as I used to be, and one of the sports I currently have is handing heavy things off to people. And I gotta say that Billy is one of the very few people I know who can probably pick up as much heavy crap as me and not fall over dead.
Yeah, well, I don't know how that works. I guess it's from lifting, 4-inch rigid conduit and walking across job sites. It's like, it's not how strong you are, it's how you use physics to your advantage. For me, you know, it's a lot of swinging on stuff. Whatever. I played hockey too, Perry, but I only played AA.
Yeah, I played for the Junior Flyers down here, Philadelphia Junior Flyers. Out of we were in West Goshen, who are in Iceland in PA, here in Chester County. It's probably about 45 minutes. Well, it's kind of all like happened at the same time. Like I blew out my knee, we moved to Jersey. And my father would have had to, he worked in PA still, so he was commuting like 45 minutes each way to work. And he would have to pick me up from the house, drive me out to freaking Chester County, which was like an hour and a half each way, for practice 3 nights a week. You know what I mean? So it just would have been too much for him. So I started playing, I went from AAA to playing single A. Because there's a single A team over here, and the closest AAA team was like in North Jersey, in New Jersey anyway, and I was like, it's just funny from like playing with everybody who's like really good to kids who couldn't even like play anymore. Like they were just learning how to play. So I was just like, man, this isn't even fun anymore. And then I, found about partying and girls when I was a freshman in high school, and that all just went away.
I remember travel hockey. All those places were 2 hours away. And I got into music. I started playing in bands. And then the girls. Yep, same thing.
Yeah, I remember playing in tournaments, playing in Canada multiple times, and tournaments up there, and Massachusetts, New Hampshire, countless ones in New York. I mean, like for our regular games, though, we'd be, like you said, like every game seemed like it was 2 hours away. Up in New York, down in Baltimore, in D.C., up in Connecticut, and Rhode Island, out in the central PA to play. And it wasn't cheap, like, to be on that team, just to play on the team, then all the uniforms. Hey, for all the travel, like, my dad was, must have been bleeding out money. I can only imagine. But he enjoyed it as much as I did, hanging out with the parents and stuff, We had a pretty cool group of kids I was teammates with for, a long period of time, so I guess it was just, like I said, as much fun for him as it was for me. But I want to get out of here. I got to get ready to go to bed, shut everything off. I'm going to let the live stream roll for a while, and then wake up in the middle of the night and turn it off. Talk to you guys later. W3MMR.
Good night, Perry. Nice talking to you. Take care and be safe, man. Keep your mind on what's going on. I'll talk to you next time. W2 very weak.
Have a good night.
Hey, it's Clark. See you later, Perry. The best tournament was the Can-Am tournament in Lake Placid, New York. Some of the best memories of my life. Clark, what happened?
I remember playing Silver Sticks. Remember that? All right, I'll see you.
Silver Sticks was good too. Clark.
Perfect double.
Clark.
Yup. Heising.
Clark.
That.
Phase rotator.
Heising reactor.
Yes, I have a Heising reactor in my FET rig.
Short and dipole.
Reactors.
Short and dipole.
Hey, Clark, did you know that there are 5 kilowatt reactors from, I guess, Gates, that Spanish company? Supposedly the paint fails on the laminations, and something funky happens, and you have to pull them apart because they lose their inductance. I actually read that somewhere.
I would never want to have to do that.
Yeah, I've only done that with one transformer, but the one I did it with, the only reason I did that was I couldn't move it.
Oh my god. That sounds like a plate transformer for a Collins 21E. It's mounted separately because there's no room in the transmitter for it.
No, the one I did it with is in my crawl space. I could send you a picture of it. You would be amused.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what I was thinking, because I don't have a Philco door, but I needed to put this thing in my basement. It took about a week of nights after work, which actually I was working nights, so it took a week of days.
A week of days.
Yep, put in 2 hours a day, taking all the laminations apart. I was able to carry the cord downstairs by myself, but I don't think I could ever carry it back upstairs. And reassembling the thing in the basement.
And by golly, why would you want to?
I'll tell you why. I'm glad you asked, because it is a 1947 copy of an RCA 1-to-1 ratio modulation transformer that was used at 9 kilovolts.
1-to-1 just leaves you awestruck.
I just didn't know they made anything like that. I mean, as far as the The iron isn't the best iron, obviously, because it's not modern. But, hey, yeah, guess what? It was good enough for what I was going to do with it.
You can't do that.
Yeah. Billy, tell him. You saw it.
You can't do that.
You know, I think sometimes people tell me that because they know I can do it and they just want to watch.
Watch.
Nah.
I don't know, man. You know, having a little bit of drift is cool, but this is getting on my nerves.
Viking is warmed up and stable.
Yeah, well, this 500 here used to be rock stable, like, once it warmed up. Even if you just warmed it up and didn't transmit, now I've noticed that once you start transmitting, it moves about another 400 cycles once it gets fully heat soaked. So I know that the parts in there have changed their little minds since 1957. That was just yesterday. You'd think they could make a rig that would last, but no.
This thing does the same stuff, but once it settles down, it settles down. And what do you mean? This is we're all on old stuff. Well, except for Clark, he's newfangled.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm the FT8 gangster.
Yeah, so did you get my point about signal level comparison, you know, where you're changing things around and you have a, but I mean, you don't AB your own crap unless you have multiple antennas, and then you can do it. But I mean, the real way to do it on amateur radio, which you don't hear much of anymore, but you know, you horse race with somebody, especially somebody in your neighborhood, and you do a lot of ABing, and you take what you see with a grain of salt. But once you see a trend, that's one of the things that I think FTA is great for, because you don't have to, like, for instance, last time I tried that on 160, I knew somebody up the road 20 miles away, and I was comparing changes in my antenna to his, which didn't change. And I got the okie dokie, how you doing? Today I picked up a new K368. And, you know, 10 hours to get a signal report. So I gave up.
And you would be 5x9 anyway, but can you repeat your call? I didn't get it.
Clark, hey Clark.
Yes.
If we could average the Clark of 2.5 hours ago, I'm thinking maybe your blood sugar isn't what it was.
Why? How are things different?
Well, you're starting to sound like the HAL 9000 towards the end, where, you know, Dave's pulling the cards out. You know, I mean, before you're like, yeah, well, hey, how you doing? And yeah, welcome to AM and all that.
Oh, because I'm multitasking. That's what the problem is.
So you're saying there's a problem with your RAM?
Yeah, I've got limited memory.
Clark does all his, like, working at, you know, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock at night.
Is this true, Clark?
Sorry, I'm sending a work email. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a screwdriver in my transmitter down to whatever frequency Clark's AM station is on and just taking over. Go right ahead. I think I'm going to do nothing but play acid rock.
Acid rock? Damn, that's... I thought you were going to say acid techno, but acid rock, that's evil.
Man, we just can't get Clark to, I mean, he just isn't gonna.
Well, we were, you know, kind of heckling him when he when he made his appearance. So I don't blame him, but, you know.
Would you consider that heckling, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. If you were Clark and you keyed up and then all of a sudden, like, the very first things you hear coming back to you in the receiver are like, Heising reactor, phase rotator, shortened dipole, you know, it's just like, oh. And
then you'd be obligated to keep paying attention to the QSO to see if they were going to continue that down that road of lampooning while you send an email to somebody, a really important one, you know, like career limiting email maybe if you made a mistake while you're listening to the guys on amateur radio.
Oh, I farted.
Well, it's not going to happen during my lifetime, but if you live long enough, Billy, there's probably going to be a tax on that.
Isn't there already one in California for, like, cows or something? They like, take into consideration the methane that's produced by the livestock and, like, have to pay a tax on it or something. I think that's a real thing.
It could very well be. I don't know about it. Because, hey, I don't get out that much. Especially lately.
Yeah. No, that was a couple years ago. I remember it was like the fart tax or fart something. I don't know. Everybody was all like, you know, posting about it.
Well, if you were to take that one step further, see, this is the problem when you open doors like that, you know, and you get your foot in the door and you have a fart tax. All you have to do is change one word, and then you have an old fart tax. And then what?
Yeah, I don't know. Old fart tax. No, they give old fart senior discounts. That's where it's at. You know, the lunch buffet. Come on, we'll hit it at it's 1:45. We better get over there for dinner.
Yeah, well, you know, you can't blame people on a fixed income for trying to get a deal. But, yes, it's taken to the extreme. To the point of being very annoying sometimes. I've seen it. But, hey, everybody has their own thing.
I like eating dinner real early when I'm working. But when I'm not working, see, I haven't even eaten dinner yet. I should do it, though.
Yeah, I should get off my butt and change some of my hardware around that I'm using here. I'm just digging this thing being rock solid and not screwing up.
Yeah, I gotta do the same thing. Everything is just... Well, no, I gotta say the Viking setup over there is pretty tight. This whole 440 thing, you were here when I threw it together. It's just like, hold on, yeah, it's like a tower of thrown together crap, and I think it's gonna stay that way though, which is a sad thing.
Yeah, I've got, you probably saw it, W2VW, 440 over here, and I would like to, just because, do all the mods to it and have it available for transmitting purposes. Right now I only use it as a receiver because it won't transmit. It's pretty much a rig that I made out of parts that were left over from this giant box of TS440 stuff that I had back when I was working on them a lot. And that's over, you know, that's right at 10 years ago now. Anyway, I decided, you know, Dave, if you really knew what you were doing, you could make one out of this pile of crap, which I did. only it developed a fault. There's a diode problem, and it's bringing in several bandpass filters at once, so you can't transmit with it. But there are a couple things I would like to do that I never did. And with all the geniuses out there working on TS440s back in the day, I'm surprised that nobody came up with a power output modification to put some kind of gain loop around that, you know. I mean, I could do it. I know how to do it. I've done it actually with other equipment, but it's just some of those guys out there that are so talented. I left it for them to do, you know. They'll stage anybody.
I know what you mean. You told me the story, Dave. I know exactly what you're talking about, too.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Let me see something here now that I got this baked in. Hello, 5555. Yeah, the QSC just went up onto medium power. Hello. Yeah. Okay.
That sounded crazy. And like the low end portions of what I see on the band adapter climbed all the way up to almost the top of the carrier. So I know that you probably just laid something over into the corner.
I didn't even look. Hello. I can't actually do that and look at the watt meter and look at I can't, you know, my layout here. And it's impossible to do that at the same time. I really need to get all my QC stuff in one direction. That way, when something goes wrong, I don't have to look around. I can see it instantly.
Oh man, dude, that QSC is such a trucker. I guess, yeah, you always run a lot more voltage than I do. Stuff like that. But I wonder, I don't know, since I switched to this crown, I have never had a problem. I used to have problems, and my amp used to do goofy stuff sometimes, but this thing, no. Not at all. That being said, the only time I ever used it with a big transmitter like the 810s, the transmitter stopped working.
Yeah, well, this is a little bit different because you know, obviously you run out of headroom. You know, I mean, that headroom goes away, so you need to do everything right. And I can say that the QSC has been a very good performer, but there's something in the two channels that is not fully balanced, and I'm thinking I just need to beat the crap out of it and heat cycle it, and maybe that'll help. And I think it is. It actually appears as though it is. Let's see. Alright, there's a slight bit more gain and a little bit less, hello. Yeah, and then we could do that and still not burn anything up. You know, I really can't ask for more from this. Although it does it's maximized for the lower modulating impedance of the other transmitter. So, you know, I'm throwing away some headroom here because of not playing in a design load, you know.
Yup. Oh, I know all about that. I learned even more about that when I was messing with that CB, which is still sitting over there with something blown up, but I see what you're saying. And now that actually makes me think I'm only using one channel in this amp right now, so I don't have to worry about any balance. But the one time I tried it in mono, it seemed to work okay until my 810 rig blew up. And Boo Boo is trying to say something. She's very talkative tonight, and she says, meow. Meow. Well, her eyes got like bigger, like she heard that.
I practice that now. I'm not just fooling around here. That's real cat talk. You know, I told you about the cat that, you know, goes in my backyard and is a legacy cat of the same cats I've been seeing for a quarter of a century here. It's the granddaughter, grandson of the cat that used to be here that killed everything that moved and would like climb on the hood of a car in the street. You know, and if you walk by it, it would open one eye and look at you like, yeah, don't get any closer. I'm gonna tear out your Adam's apple, show it to you before you die, cat. So I practice talking to cats, and when I walk around the neighborhood, usually walking Gotham, the killer dog around the hood here. If I see a cat, which isn't very often, but if I see a cat, I will talk to the cat. And most cats will stop in their tracks and turn around and look at me, you know. They're like, yeah, check this cat out, and then they look and it's me.
You know what's funny about that, though? Cats do not vocally communicate with each other. Like, anytime a cat is meowing, that's for humans. And they only do that for humans. Like, cats don't talk to each other like that. When they're making vocalizations, it's only to talk to people. I found that really interesting. So if you, like, meow back at a cat, it gets really confused. It's like, wait, what? Like, no, like, you're supposed to just talk to them. You know? It's weird. Dude, cats are awesome.
I'm gonna have to consider that. I never even thought of that, Billy, because I'm the one that initiates the conversation, and I don't know what it is. I'm like the cats. I think they think I'm Elvis Presley or something. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know I'm nothing special, but cats don't know that.
Well, yeah, it works. I mean, dude, I talk to Boo Boo all the time. She'll talk right back to me, and I know, like, she says stuff, and she has different vocalizations for different things. Like, I know when she's hungry and she's like, hey, like, you haven't put out my lunch yet, and I'm looking for it, she makes, like, you know, a certain vocalization, and I know that one. The one when I come home, when she's, like, happy to see me, the greeting one, I know that one. She's got a couple others that I haven't quite figured out, but it's truly interesting owning a cat compared to a dog. You know, it's just it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Hey, there's a guy talk about cats, but a whole lot different than the ones we're talking about. But sometime when you get bored, check out November X-Ray 4 Echo NX4E. He used to be quite active on 10 meter AM. He has a big cat preserve down in Florida. It's been in and out of the news and some interesting stuff. They got flattened down there in the last storm. Anyway, here's a guy that you can run into on the air. You know, talk about 400-pound cats.
Yeah, those cats. That's scary. I'm pretty sure if Boo Boo was 400 pounds, I would be done for. She would eat me, but that's not the case. So she loves me. Have you watched that new series or whatever? Everybody's talking about the Tiger Man show or whatever. I haven't watched it yet, but it's all anybody talks about.
Well, that's actually why I mentioned that, because you know who has been kind of perusing that. So that reminded me to go check out some other stuff. See how people are doing it. Yes, but no, I'm not going to ever watch any series again on television except for we're binge watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, and then when we run out of those, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to be lost, Billy.
I can't believe people actually exist like that in the real world. In the Tiger King, stuff's crazy. KC3FKR.
Yo!
Signal.
How you guys doing? KC3FKR. Man. Yeah, I think, well, I guess my dad and I actually started watching that show at the beginning of the week. We watched, we watched the first episode, and I couldn't believe that those people were real. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. The one guy, so I'm only on like the first or second episode, so no spoilers, please. But the one guy, I guess it would be what's his name? Joe Exotic. Nutcase, absolute nutcase. Didn't catch who else was actually in here. It's KC3FKR.
Hey Daniel, Billy, W2BTK.
And W2 very weak. Hi, Daniel.
Alright, W2VW, KC3FKR. Billy and W2VW. I always hear you on here, and I never remember names for a lot of people on the AM window. I need to start writing them down in an actual log. Let me fire up the browser here and get everything in the window. It's KC3FKR.
Yeah, be interested to hear how you're dealing with school and being home and all that stuff. And I guess you can't set all the alarms off over there. I think you moved your transmitter anyway. You're keeping up with the static. No problem. Up here in Beechwood, New Jersey, here on Beechwood Mountain. Name is Dave, Delta Alpha, Victor Echo.
Okay, Dave, yep. Well, you're also pretty strong here into Newark. We have probably about a 25, 30 to 40 over 9 copy on you here. So, no problems hearing you at all. We have probably one of the nicest days of the spring so far today. It was about 73, 74 degrees in Newark today. I took about a 5-hour-long electrical engineering exam today, which was open note, but it was over an honor code, I guess, is how they had it, such that you couldn't collaborate with anybody else, and you could use the internet and use your notes and whatnot. So certainly interesting, but that was my experiment for the day, was getting that exam done, and it was one of those exams where it's just oh, here you go. Here's a diode. Here's the reverse depletion capacitance of the diode at 2 different reverse bias voltages, and go ahead and give me all the parameters of that diode, please. Thank you. Got it done though. But yeah, school's going all right. Just trying to stay on top of things, stay on top of due dates, and keep my habits where they should be. Anyway, let me see. We reset the timeout timer. Standby one. Let's see, now that actually everything should be lined up and currents all look good, powers look good. Here for the long haul, I suppose. We got Billy in there and Dave. Good evening to you guys, and hope you guys also had a pleasant day outside. It was quite a nice day here for sure. Billy, go ahead and pick it up. It's KC3FKR.
Hello. And it's Clark.
Imagine if one of the questions on the test was, name the difference between a Heising reactor and a modulation.
When should I pick it up?
Hold on a second. If that was if that was the if that was the question that they gave me, I think they would have stumped me because I've never actually.
Oh shit!
About what the difference was.
What up?
Got a Heising reactor can
When
be
did
used
you come in
Heising
here?
modulation scheme in one of two ways. I think there's like one current mode and one.
Talking to these motherfuckers on the radio.
There's like some kind of a floating. I have to check all the schematics that I've looked at because I've never actually designed a transmitter with a Heising reactor. So Clark would be the nerd for that. So I would have just said, well, you didn't tell me I couldn't use anybody from outside the university as a resource, and I would have read that email you sent me again. N1BCG, KC3FKR.
Well, it was going to Bill.
Yeah, Clark, be careful because this is the future right here. And I mean that.
Oh, it's not Jill. It's Jill's friend.
Clark.
What's up? Out in England.
Real easy.
Doing ham radio here in the States, man.
You know, I could point to about 50 dead people who would argue with you over that. And look what happened to them.
What? Exactly.
Anyway, Daniel, we just kind of cut up here because seriousness is not good. And we're just doing break-in. So every once in a while, you got to do that. Make sure you're not doubling with Clark. Because Clark, sometimes he's not interested. He only pays 15%.
Oh yeah, bro.
Of his attention to the QSO. And then other times he's 200%.
I'm putting some fire in the wire tonight,
That's
man. There's
what we're doing.
crazy noisy on the airwaves. So I'm running some watts.
The art of the round table is dead in 2020. There's maybe 4 people that can do it. You're one of them.
Well, I've seen round tables executed pretty easily. But it only works if everyone takes note of who's on the frequency and who's checked in and who's checked out.
And nobody has adult ADD. And here you're not going to have that.
You know what though? Like in the round table, sometimes like it comes to you and like you don't have that much to say, but now you're obligated to make a transmission and you just talk about nothing.
Yep. I don't have anything to say, so I'm going to talk about nothing. KC3FKR.
Anyway, that's cool. You had to do your diode capacitance thing. That
So much blasting. Hold on, the cat's going behind
get
me.
into the
It's high
realm
voltage
of
back there.
diodes designed to be used in, say, a VCO specifically, or was it your garden variety diode?
Well, hold on. The specifics of the question was you're given a diode,
Jill,
and the only
Jill
measurement
is
you're given
she
about
just
the diode
wants to
is its
sass the
reversible
world, you
capacitance,
know?
i.e. like the junction capacitance, like when
She's
you
trying
would
to
use it in a
sass.
VCO, at 2 different biases, and then you're tasked with figuring out what the dopant levels are on the P and N junction, on the P and N side of the diode, and then you're told to run from that, calculate the
way too much.
built-in voltage,
There ought to
and then
be
you
a
come
law.
up with the saturation current, and then you can actually come up with an expression that is the ideal diode curve, which, if my studying worked, should be the saturation current times E to the built-in voltage, or I'm sorry, the bias voltage over the thermal voltage minus 1. And that's your ideal diode curve. So the goal is to get to that point, and then you can use it in like a circuit simulation if you wanted to take that diode specifically and see how it behaves in any circuit. So that was the point of that question, but it was a lot of hand math and a lot of keeping track of numbers that are well into the times 10 to the 21 region.
My big thing with that was always screwing up where you put the decimal point. That's great. Great to hear the nuts and bolts of engineering. There's a lot of we're talking about old you-know-whats out there that think that young engineers can't do stuff like they did back in the day, and it ain't true, man. I know lots of them. I was fortunate to work with a few and fortunate enough to know a few, and you're one of them. So keep it up. And I had the conversation with Joe GMS in person out there at the Antique Flea out there in Pennsylvania. And Joe was, he lit up when I mentioned, and I heard you on the air a couple times. So that's great. So you're going to go places. And someday you'll remember Clark. You'll say, yeah, I remember that guy, Clark.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Clark. Sometimes he gets on and he just wants to talk a lot, and sometimes he gets on and he just wants to get up and go, yeah.
No, it's because I'm battling a bunch of ham radio naysayers on the forums. I think people are getting pissy because they're stuck at home.
Tell them to get on the air. If they knew what they were talking about, they would be on the air, Clark. That stops them all in their tracks. And occasionally, only on occasion, will they get on the air. And when they do, usually, Clark, it's so sad that you can't even say anything.
God, it's amazing these guys, all ham radio operators, are spending all their time on forums battling about the topic instead of being on the air and doing, ham radio. Weird, huh? N1BCG.
Yeah, welcome to the AM Classic Facebook page, because that's what it is. At least the guy that runs it, I mean, Dave nailed it. He hit it right on the head. W2BTK.
Welcome to the AM window. You name it, we play it.
This is the AM baggage net. If you have something that you don't like about hams, amateur radio, or your trash collection people, you can air it here.
Yeah, and live on Twitch, too. Come comment. It'll be immortalized.
Anyway, Daniel, you always have a quality signal. A big signal, and it's GMS's fault. I know it is.
Dave, what did you say there, Dave? I was listening to my dad, what he was saying.
I said your quality signal is the fault of GMS. I know it is.
Yeah, it's a crime.
Hey, Daniel, you've never used a CB before, right?
No, I've used a CB, but that's actually what got me into ham radio. Is I had one of those realistic 5-watt handheld CBs from like the 80s, and I was playing around with it when I was maybe in like middle school or something, and I was like, this is boring. And then I met one of my friends, Don, who his dad was a ham, and I found out about that side of radio, and then immediately migrated from CB to ham radio.
Very interesting. I think a lot of people have that exact same story, but word of advice, if you are going to hang out on the internet with these folks who we're talking about, or like the internet operators, don't ever tell them that. Trust me, you'll get banned from all of their pages. As funny as that is. And it doesn't matter what you post. You could go on there and make amazing technical posts for a month, and then talk about a CB, you're out. Oh, it's funny, right?
KC3FKR. I've never thought of it that way, but that's actually really funny. What I find hilarious is how upper brows are Braxis.
Hey, just if you don't mind me changing the subject, I'm looking up your 813 amp here, right, on QRZ, and the pictures of it. This thing is really cool. It looks like, a B&W.
You guys don't even know.
Circuit,
I'm causing problems.
But you got rid of all the original supports because it probably sagged like they do when they get old. But I love the I love the combination of old and older and really old stuff there that you use for this thing. Especially keeping the TV type doorknobs there in the plate blocker. Because a lot of guys badmouth those things. I guess it's probably 500 Mickey Mikes, a pair of them there in parallel. Yeah, I have purposely tried to keep some of those alive in different circuits, and they work, but I haven't seen anybody build anything new with those in a long time.
Yeah, you know, actually those those caps are out of a transmitter that was homebrewed by a guy back in I want to say like the early 40s. So when Joe brought this idea up to me to build a AM transmitter, I didn't have the money or the parts, and he said, well, I have this old homebrew transmitter this guy built back during the Depression. And I said, are you kidding? And I was like, how would I even do anything with that in terms of building something new? And he's like, well, I'll give it to you. You can use the parts that are readily available, and
shit.
or the parts that aren't readily available, and then buy parts that you need to make up for it. So I came home with a Tahoe's back compartment full of transmitter parts and racks.
Still
and
on sassing people on the radio.
6-foot rack cabinet.
How do you feel about that?
Which it's currently installed in right now. And I went through all of the old transmitter racks and went through all the old RF decks and just gutted
this
every
kid who's talking right now, he's like a freaking genius. He's like 18 years old. Or no, he's like 20 now.
So this
he like builds all his own transmitters and crap.
$0. It was just an old transmitter that Joe had around from a guy that built it many years ago that was non-functional. So this is like a cannibalized thing reborn. KC3FKR.
You know, that's the thing I was saying to Billy. If Billy hasn't ripped apart 10,000 different pieces of medium and high power HF gear, that's
nah, not on the car.
You're taking that stuff apart. I know
140 foot long antenna outside.
Just from doing that and reading the old handbooks. That's really cool looking at that. And the fact that you're not spending, $2,000 to go get little parts and stick them in there. You're QCing the old parts and you're putting them in and making it play. Now that.
Yeah, this setup is stupid.
That's,
the amplifier that I'm using is taller than me by a foot and a half.
Cool, but that's old school amateur radio where you do it, it works great, and you don't spend a ton of money on it. So, kudos to you. But you don't have a varactor diode in there anywhere, you should have worked that in there.
That's in the exciter.
That's for real, like mad props, Daniel.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It did take me a lot of time and thought to actually put this thing together, and it's really not even done yet.
Right now, it's just three of us.
You'll see the cabinet. There's a big gaping hole in the front of it.
He's in Delaware.
Inside of there is a little
and the other guy who's talking is also in New Jersey. I'm in New Jersey.
So right now, I'm actually designing the push-pull IPA stage for that transmitter. I built that thing back in the winter of 2018, and it's been running with that exciter since then, albeit unstably. And now I'm designing a closed-loop feedback powered VFO for it with a bandwidth out to about 10 megahertz. Which I'm going to install, test it, see how it works, make a PCB for it, and then I'm probably going to post the build files on AM Phone for anybody who wants to use it to drive like any other form of tube rigs, or maybe I just want a couple watts out to drive the grids of a Class E system, or whatever you might desire, albeit the output level is variable from if my calculations are correct, and I have simulated it, but it should give you everything from about 1 to 2 watts out to about 50 watts.
Holy shit, Jill, I told you I found that the other day.
And I think
I
for
should
5
go
watts
get it,
out,
but
it takes like 10
probably
milliwatts to
not
drive.
going to be
So
in
we're
working
still working on the
condition. I bet it
schematics
needs
and
batteries or
finalizing
something.
that. It was based on a pair of IRF 510 MOSFETs and push-pull. So I actually did the old school
all right, hold on.
line calculations for it. I didn't have the resources available to just steal someone else's design, so I actually took my supply rail and grabbed the curve traces off of the IRF 510 datasheet, put them in a document, drew my load line, did the calculations for the drain impedance, and then designed the matching transformer. And surprisingly, it actually worked on the first try. The simulation worked on the first try, so I was like, okay, well, tweak the values around a little bit, order the parts, and should have a new exciter for this thing pretty soon, so I can actually put the front panel on this thing and have a stable output power, because the Yaesu kind of drifts in output. ALC kind of goes up and down, for some reason. So this will have some closed loop feedback with a power level detection on the output that'll drive the preamplifier for the IPA and change its gain. So basically it'll be a power amplifier with AGC. So no matter what frequency you're on, it's got flat gain response to a certain extent. That's that would complete this transmitter. But yeah, this transmitter's got a mismatch of parts, and you'll see in one of the pictures. Let me reset for a second. I actually have a timeout timer built into the control mechanism, which I'm going to talk about here. The pictures, you'll see there's a shelf above the operating table, and it's got a 19-inch rack with the audio gear, a realistic power amplifier for the grid drive on the modulator, and that white
the batteries are totally dead.
Sorry, the silver plate.
I forget what kind it takes. I gotta get a screwdriver to
the
open
screws
it.
in the front, the 2 lights on it, the switch, and the fuse holder. That is the control mechanism for the transmitter. There's a military plug that plugs into the back of that. It's got an Arduino and some switching circuitry.
3 AA's. I don't know if I have them.
Contactor in the transmitter, as well as the push to talk. So a plate contactor. So whenever I want to talk on the transmitter, I actually
it's
have
got
a
a couple of
on my laptop.
extra buttons and switches on it for sure.
That acts as my push to talk. So technically, I can do very slow CW at the expense of
Yo, man, come on. You know what's going on out there. Hold on.
Plate transformer. KC3FKR.
W2 very weak.
W2BTK.
Clark.
Joe, I got one thing to say about getting batteries, man.
Guess what, biz? Coronavirus!
BCG ID tape. Thank you.
Wait, what? So, it's getting rowdy in my Twitch stream.
Oh, people are commenting on Daniel's stuff. Yeah, Daniel, yeah, you stuff an Arduino in there where nobody can see it.
Yep, it looks stock.
You got it. You need a buffer update, right?
A what?
Exactly.
Hold on a second. I'm looking at the what's this Twitch stream you guys are on it? I know Perry was streaming earlier. Billy, are you streaming something?
Yeah, I started a Twitch stream like, I don't know, a week and a half ago. The username is really stupid because when I made it, I didn't ever think that I would do something serious with this, but the username is sniff my balls, like sniff like to smell. If you just go to twitch.tv/sniffmyballs, and the thing will come up. It's a legit ham radio stream. I've got a camera here of me. You can see the shack, the transmitter, the scope in the background, and then my pan adapter is on, you know, it's in there. It's cool. You can chat, you can do whatever. So when people connect and listen, they can chat in real time and say like, oh, hey, that guy's piss weak, you know, or whatever. It's kind of fun. But the username is Sniff My Balls, and I'm gonna change that as soon as I can. I think I have a month left before Twitch will let me change the name.
Oh, I found it. I found it. That is downright hysterical. Oh my gosh. I'm just looking at it now, and looks like, see, how many people are actually, I've actually never really used Twitch. I watch a lot of stuff from just my, my friends on Discord. I have a Discord server that we all kind of hang out on, and specifically since this whole COVID-19 thing, we've been kind of using the Twitch, the Discord server to just communicate with each other and have a good time with, you know, various games, and actually doing homework and all that sort of stuff. But I haven't looked at a lot of Twitch stuff in the past, but I know it's very popular. I'm not much of a gamer, but that's what I understand. A lot of people do a lot of gaming streams on. But yeah, it looks good. I like the chat window. You got the little monitor of your setup there on the camera. So I think it looks like you're using GQRX or something there. What's the SDR interface?
You know, Dave, if there had to be an upside to all this, the millennial generation ended in 2000, and Daniel is like after that, so there's still hope.
Yeah. More. I'm just going to listen here. I think this is great, Clark. You know what I mean? Just to see some people run with this and still use this old crap like we're communicating with. They're taking it to the next level. And they're having a lot of fun. They're doing it right. And all right, so Billy's name is I'm not even going to say what it is. It has something to do with Sniff. I mean, you know, we can fix that problem. W2VW.
And Daniel, it's AirSpy, the SDR Sharp software.
Oh, that doesn't look like SDR Sharp, like the one that I run. It just looks like you took the menu on the side is just minimized. It looks like you're running it on Windows 2000 or Linux or something.
It's funny, I'm actually running two computers to do this stream. The Windows machine runs the web SDR, and that's basically it. And then that is sent over my network to the Mac computer that I have here, which I put in all the overlays and do the streaming from. But I wouldn't be able to run the SDR receiver and do all this encoding and streaming and all this stuff with one machine. I just ran out of CPU. So it's Windows 7 and Mac OS, what is this, El Capitan? I don't even know. Mac OS sucks.
Never had a Mac, never will have a Mac. If I buy a Mac, it's getting loaded with Ubuntu.